Avatar, a jokey recap. Avatar is the second highest grossing movie of all time. The first is Gone with the Wind, a movie about two men with flatulence, who get taken by a hurricane, starring Liam Neeson. Avatar features a tribe of humanoids who each stand at 10 foot tall, known as the Na'vi. The Na'vi weren't always 10 foot tall though. As per Darwin's theory of evolution, the Na'vi evolved from smaller blue humanoids known as Smurfs. The Na'vi now reside on a lush habitable moon known as Pandora, which was once a popular jewelry store renowned for its dangly charms. When the jewelry store folded, many of their silver trinkets absorbed into the soil, converting into a precious mineral known as unobtainium. Humans want to mine the unobtainium, of course, due to the humans' best-in-class approach to screwing up planets. But the atmosphere on Pandora is toxic to humans, which is why scientists use Na'vi and human hybrids, called avatars, to explore it. Jake Sully, played by Sam Worthington, is a former Marine who accompanies Dr. Grace Augustine, played by Sigourney Weaver, to Pandora. Dr. Augustine is the head of the Avatar program. When interviewing for the position, Sigourney Weaver's work with aliens, and the fact that a xenomorph once called her, Mommy, looked great on her CV. Although Jake is part of Dr. Augustine's security detail on Pandora, he gets himself chased by a Thanator, a kind of wannabe Triceratops. This chase might have been avoided if he was wearing one of those curly earpieces, like the Secret Service use. Anyway, as a result, Jake is separated from the group, and they have to leave him alone on Pandora overnight. The general consensus is that he probably won't survive the night, which isn't a huge loss because of the whole earpiece debacle. Sure enough, a pack of viperwolves spot him in the woods, and noticing his odd coloring, start craving blueberries. With their piranha-like teeth bared, they say, "You'll be great in a strudel." Fortunately, Jake is rescued by Neytiri, a hot female Na'vi. She isn't much into blueberries, but from a young age, has always been strudel curious. Jake tries to thank Neytiri and chases her up a tree. In the process, he gets snared by some male Na'vi, who take him back to their campground, where Jake meets Neytiri's parents, Itukan and Moa, who are the leaders of the tribe. Itukan and Moa note that Jake hasn't brought them flowers or chocolates, but still welcome him with open arms, allowing him to have a slumber party up in one of their trees. However, the act of falling asleep revives an avatar's human body, so Jake wakes up back at the base camp. Everyone at base camp is pretty thrilled to see him, though a few can't let the whole earpiece thing go. Jake is asked to sit at the front of the class to present news, which he does quite shyly, saying, a lot and looking at his feet most of the time. Afterward, Colonel Miles Quaritch asks Jake to spy on the Na'vi in order to find out more about where the unobtainium is, and also, how they get their muscle gains. He wants Jake to win the Na'vi's trust, and eventually ask them to voluntarily move out of their cul-de-sac, in order to mine the unobtainium. If Jake is successful, Colonel Miles promises to send him to public speaking lessons. Jake, realizing this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, agrees. Fast forward some months, and Jake ends up falling in love with Neytiri. Learning more about the Na'vi, Jake ends up opposing the mining of their sacred land for the unobtainium. In the meantime though, the Na'vi find out that he's been spying on them, and they chant, "Snitches are ditches, snitches are ditches." Jake replies, "I don't think ditch is the word you're looking for." This immediately wins back the trust of the Na'vi. To celebrate, Jake flies on a Torek, a colorful beast that had once, unsuccessfully, auditioned for Game of Thrones. The beast comes in handy over the coming days because a war ensues between the Na'vi and the human military. There is terrible carnage on both sides. Lives are lost. Forests burn. Blueberries burst. Eventually though, the military and their unscrupulous colonel are stopped. In the aftermath of the terrible war, all humans in the science space station must leave Pandora. Jake, however, feels that blue skin really highlights his eyes and chin, and decides to permanently transfer his consciousness to his avatar. He and Neytiri live happily ever after, rebuilding Pandora, and negotiating their contracts with James Cameron. In their downtime they make strudel, lots of strudel.